first vaccine $1 million winner in North Carolina.
Wow.
Wow is right. Could you imagine hearing Dr. Mandy Cohen say that you had won? It happened to Shelley. She is the first winner of North Carolina's vaccine lottery.
So get this, we were able to sit down one-on-one with Shelley to talk to her about this surprise, because one of Shelley's first thoughts was to call our very own 2 Ones and O's, Tanya Rivera.
Big surprise there, Tanya. I am sure that wasn't a phone call you were expecting.
Oh no, I was surprised and overwhelmed just like them. Most of you are seeing Shelley for the first time in your life. I've known Shelley and her husband Bill for almost 20 years. So when she got the first call telling her she was the winner of the North Carolina vaccine lottery, she could kind of hear my voice inside her head saying, hey, be careful, this could be a scam. And your immediate thought is what?
This is not real. This is a scam.
Shelley and Bill Googled the number on the phone, looked up the name of the people leaving messages, and
at one point it started to get kind of serious. That's when she said, okay, call Tanya, because she'll know.
I said, come home. I called him and I said, they're getting ready to send me a link.
that Zoom link changed everything.
Mandy Cohen's face popped up there and I was like, oh my gosh.
This is real.
It's actually real.
And as soon as everyone knew that they could hear and see one another, the words most of us dream about hearing were said.
You are the first vaccine $1 million winner in North Carolina.
Wow.
You just look at each other and go, think, how is this happening? What is happening right now?
So you get off the phone with Mandy Cohen, and when you're done with Mandy Cohen, what did you have to do?
I went back to tutoring. I tutor online, and that's what I've been doing in between all of this.
There's no like, oh my gosh, let's roll in a couple of dollar bills and pretend.
No.
No.
There was no rolling around in money, but it was a moment that Shelley and Bill say will change their lives, and not all at the same time. Shelley was tutoring that night as a $1 million winner. Her student didn't know it. She just knew she was learning. To Shelley, she says, well, the $1 million is fantastic. Knowing she can help others still is priceless. I have to just tell you, like, you want to be jealous of people who win the lottery, right? But they're the nicest people known to man. So you just go, I'm so glad you won.
They earned it. They deserved it.
Right. I mean, they would never say they deserve it, but they are like, we want to be good stewards of it. We want to help our family, and we want to still give to our community and that kind of thing. They were just very overwhelmed. She says, you think you know what you're going to do with lottery money, because everybody says, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then you like, oh my gosh, I won the
really
lottery. So what do I do? What do I do now?
What about, so the first thing that comes into my mind, because I'd be scared to death about taxes, is that taken out before they get it, or did you get into that with them?
I didn't get into that specifically with them, but we did have some talks about you need a financial advisor and a CPA. You have to have that. I did not know when I started doing research. I mean, you can't put a $700,000 check in the bank, right? You just can't, because a bank only insures up to $250,000 in one account. So you do have to have a plan. You can't just like, hey, I'm just going to do something with the money. Yeah,
and I think it's crazy now, because so many people who usually don't play the lottery are now kind of getting their taste of this, because if you get vaccinated, you're automatically entered in North Carolina.
And of course, when they got vaccinated, it was long before the lottery ever even happened. They got vaccinated in April. So to them, it was just kind of like, this is what we want to do to make sure that we don't spread it to our aging parents and to the kids that I tutor. So to them, they were just stopping the spread. She had no idea this was going to happen.
I would just love to see someone try to take $1 million check to an ATM and just put it in and say, it won't work.
See what happens.
Doesn't work.
No.
I just think it's incredible that you know them, and especially because you do so many stories on watching out for lottery scams.
Right, and I did go into like consumer reporter mode. I'm like, you need to, increase your credit. You need to do this. You need to do that, and that kind of stuff. But I too was like, oh my gosh. Like, you won the lottery, and I know you.
And I love that they were filming the call, and when Dr. Cohen popped up, they were like,
oh yes,
is this real? Is it real? Are we sure still?
I said, hey, whatever Zoom call it is, you videotape it. And they're like, really? And I'm like,
it's true, yes.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not real.
Even if it's not real. So folks at home, we just want to let you know, there's going to be 3 more winners, right? So if you get a call, you have to respond within 48 hours. Otherwise, they move to the next person. But you want to make sure that you're actually calling the right people. So you want to make sure it is DHHS.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Very good.
no fees. You should never pay anything to get anything.
And you have several more stories coming up throughout the day today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about why they got the vaccine. We're going to talk about how COVID life changed them and how they never thought something good could happen out of COVID, right? And so we're also going to introduce you a little bit to who they are, what their home life is like, what their budget is like before the $1 million.
I like it. Another big winner today, though.
Yes, not as big, but
yes.
definitely another big winner.
Huge.
14-year-old Vania Martinez won the Cash for College scholarship for getting her vaccine. Vania says she couldn't believe it when she got the call.
Got the phone call. I thought it was a total lie. I did not believe it. And then my mom was like, no, it's real. It was exciting, but at the same time crazy because I started a summer job so I could save for college.
$125,000. Vania says she got the vaccine after seeing loved ones die from COVID-19. After talking with her mom and doing some research, she says she felt safe making the decision. Vania still has 4 more years of high school before she takes off for college.
All right, so you heard Tanya talking about possibly getting an email from the state if you win the vaccine lottery. You might also get a phone call, but just like the phone calls, the real North Carolina official lottery email is not going to ask you for any personal information or money to win. But there is something else you might want to watch out for. Be careful of links that might be included in the email. It could be a way to put spyware on your computer. So before you click on any link, no matter what kind of email it's coming from, the Better Business Bureau says you should copy and paste it into Google's Safe Browsing Link Check.
Scammers can be tricky, and they figured out ways to make it look like it's somebody that you know who sent you a link. But this technology that Google has created now is a great way for you to check out that URL without actually having to click on it. Copy that URL and paste it into the spot on the website, and the website will do the work for you.
Drawings are every other Wednesday, so there isn't one this week. The next drawing is July 7th, then July 21st, and the last one will be August 4th. Entries close at midnight on the Sunday before the drawing, but you need to make sure the state has the right information in case you do win. When you got vaccinated, you probably gave your vaccine provider your phone number and/or email address. If you provided an email address, you should have received an email inviting you to register on the COVID-19 vaccine portal. If you didn't do that back then, you can search your inbox now for the subject line, "Welcome to the North Carolina COVID-19 vaccine portal." The email contains a link to set up your password. Your COVID-19 vaccine portal username is listed in that email. If you didn't get this email, you might need to update your contact information through your vaccine provider or the vaccine portal help desk. All right, you've got to see the newest county alert system map showing coronavirus spread in our state. Green is the best here, which represents the lowest spread. Then it goes light yellow, dark yellow, orange, and red being the worst. In our area, both Allegheny and Davie counties are in green this week. All others are a shade of yellow, so we are doing pretty good. No orange, no red here. The biggest concern on this map, Bladen County, which includes Elizabethton. The state says a low vaccination rate there is mostly to blame. Now, if you're still unsure about getting your child vaccinated, ask the experts. Today at 5:30, Dr. Michael Sinneman with Cone Health is answering your questions about children and COVID-19. You can get those questions answered by texting them to us, 336-379-5755.
Yes, that number is 336-379-5775. Just want to make sure we get that right. In the meantime, we want to turn now to the headlines in your 4 to 5 roundup. The man suspected of killing a 19-year-old High Point University student was back in court today. Michael Cadogan was waiving his right to extradition, and he will be brought to North Carolina. Court documents reveal Cadogan admitted to killing Gianna Delgado on a FaceTime call to a friend. Investigators say he planned to get rid of her body in Tennessee. High Point police will canvass the Palladium Park Apartments area tomorrow to see if anyone has any more information on Delgado's death. Police arrested Cadogan on Monday. NC State's baseball season came to a bitter end while most fans were asleep on the East Coast. On Saturday morning, the NCAA announced State was out of the College World Series because 2 players tested positive for COVID-19. The entire roster was then tested, and 4 of those tests came back positive. State's athletics director called the timing devastating. The search for life continues in Florida today, 4 days after a condo building partially collapsed. Sadly, the death toll rose to 10 people this morning. 151 people are still unaccounted for. No one has been pulled alive from the rubble since Thursday when the building crumbled in the middle of the night. Search teams continue to pore over the debris. And the e-cigarette company Juul will have to pay our state $40 million. Juul Labs just settled its first state lawsuit alleging that they market their product to teenagers. Attorney General Josh Stein filed the suit back in 2019, saying that Juul misled the public about risks associated with their products and tried to attract kids. Juul will also have to make changes to its business practices as a result.
Now we're checking a forecast that looks hot in the short term. A little bit of relief coming toward the end of the week, but we also have a decent chance of rain as we head into our maybe Thursday night into Friday for sure. We'll get to that in a minute. 87 degrees in Greensboro right now, 90 in Winston-Salem, 91 in Walnut Cove and Reedsville. We are warm. High point at 91. Lexington shows up at 88 degrees and then Asheboro at 86. When you look at our outlook hour by hour, it's going to be a mild overnight low. That's for sure. I mean, look at this by 2 a.m. We're still at 74 degrees. So hot one today, and we think this pattern will probably continue for the next couple of days. Not a lot of rain happening here, but this is interesting. So just today, short time ago, as a matter of fact, now we see this tropical storm. It was upgraded to a storm. It will be moving ashore into the South Carolina area, and that would be toward the southern tip of South Carolina. That will happen in the short term. This is Tropical Storm Danny moving northwest at 16, and you can see winds are only at 40 miles per hour, but it's probably more of a rainmaker than anything else, and mostly to our south. We don't think this will affect us greatly, but you can see that our high-resolution futurecast does show a chance of a shower or two, but it's minimal for us. We're going to talk about that hot stretch coming up in the short term, 7-day forecast in just a minute. You know, there are those who help a few of us once in a while, then there are those that help a lot of us a lot of the time. Shirley Fry is one of those people, and one of her passions is helping the local YWCA. In fact, it's named after her. Now you can honor her work and help the Y at the same time. Very cool here. So the YWCA in Greensboro, they're wrapping up their annual Preserve the Legacy fundraising campaign. That happens in the next few days. The campaign is a way to keep the YWCA afloat in its quest to help others. And an important note here, all the money stays local and helps programs like their shelter.
Our shelter houses 7 to 8 families. Each family size averages from 4 to 6 individuals in a family, and they stay in the shelter up to 90 days, and then we help them transition out of the shelter.
Dr. Palmer says that Shirley Fry has been instrumental in the success of the YWCA, including advocating even on a national level for that organization, and was a key figure in the desegregation of the Y. That's why their big finale event is called, and I love this, the Fry WCA Fest.
The fest celebrates, yes, her contribution, but it also gives us an opportunity to connect with our stakeholders and our supporters and offer an event for the community. We have engaged a couple of radio stations that will be serving as MCs and DJs, and we also will have local art by way of the UNCG art, the mobile exhibit.
The festival, by the way, is July the 11th, and it runs from 4 to 6 at their Wendover location. They're going to have door prizes, live music, and food. Of course, tickets are $5, and that enters you into that door prize. We have all this information on the web story on WFNYnews2.com. Shirley Fry deserves every bit of recognition. We were just talking about her during the break.
She is incredible. Both she and her husband have done so much for this community, as well as just the broader community, that it's great that that she is getting that recognition.
She is one of those people, you know her name before you ever meet her. I mean, when I started here at News 2, I heard about Shirley Fry because of her deep roots in our community in Greensboro and just how much she's done to give back. And then I finally got to speak to her on the phone one time. I was kind of starstruck. It's like, is this the Shirley Fry? So
I
a
interviewed
great couple.
her, Ed Henry, for an award they got for the Chamber of Commerce not too long ago. And we ended up, after the interview was over with, it was 45 minutes of sitting there and just talking because she is so engaging, and so is her husband. Just wonderful people.
Talk about a power couple, right?
No kidding.
Wow, that's great.
Fry
Congratulations.
WCA. That's
I know,
the best
that's
name.
They named that 5 years ago for her. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're coming back.
We're on Facebook. Come join us. We're chatting.
Olympic hammer thrower Gwen Berry is responding to critics calling her out for a move she made during the Olympic trials over the weekend. She turned her back to the American flag during the national anthem. Toward the end of the anthem, she put a black t-shirt over her head that read "Activist Athlete." Now, Berry tweeted saying criticism shows people in America rally patriotism over basic morality. She also wrote that after the murder of George Floyd, the positive statements and support for Black lives was a hoax. She responded to another tweet saying, "I never said I hated this country. People try to put words in my mouth, but they can't. That's why I speak out. I love my people." Now, this isn't new for Berry. In 2019, she was put on a 12-month probation after protesting on the medal stand during the 2019 Pan American Games in Lima. That probation was later overturned.
Not much surprise here in this next story. The GOAT, Simone Biles, is heading back to the Olympics with the U.S. gymnastics team. You might not be surprised to hear that she's heading back to the Olympics, but this year's win was not an easy grab for the world champion. Biles actually fell off the beam and stepped out of bounds during her floor exercise. Not really sure that matters all too much when the first two skills of your floor exercise are named after you. But before the trials, Biles won her 7th national women's all-around title at the U.S. Gymnastics Championship in Texas. She won 4 gold medals at the 2016 Summer Games in Rio, and she hoped to retire last summer, but because of the pandemic, the Olympics were delayed until July of this year, and Biles made the decision to train for another year. She said in a 60-minute interview that she didn't make it this far to only come this far.
Yesterday's U.S. track and field trials paused because of record-breaking heat. Temperatures in Oregon reached 108 degrees. Talia Brooks had to be wheeled off the track after collapsing during the heptathlon, but she is expected to be okay. One athlete looked to the stands and begged for water before her race started. It took multiple attempts to get the men's and women's heats going because the tracks were just too hot. Hurdler Cindy McLaughlin said that her knee was bloody from lining up on the hot track so many times.
Yeah, that heat to the northwest too. You don't really hear about that. I was looking at some temperatures earlier and it was, well into the 100s in Portland, Oregon. They just don't get that very often. Neither do we, for that matter. But you look over here, the visible satellite. I want to show you this because it really gives you a nice, clear kind of HD picture of what's going on with this tropical system. It was just kind of a depression, now upgraded to a tropical storm. That's Danny, and it is moving ashore. You can notice some of that cloud cover just sort of blows up just as the center of circulation gets to the Gulf Stream, and that warm water just feeds that system. Now, that is forecasted to move ashore in the South Carolina area. The big question is, will it affect us? Well, there's a possibility we might get a shower or a thunderstorm. It's more likely in the southern Piedmont and, to be honest, south and west as this system moves in. And that'll be moving in and then downgrading, of course, once it gets to the upstate of South Carolina. It's just a lot of rain by that point and nothing for us to worry about. Most of the heavier shower activity will stay well to our south. We look for temperatures to get hot for us, though, folks. 89 to 90 for the next 3 days. Friday could be a rainy and stormy day, and we're in the mid-80s, and for your weekend, 82 and 84 for the 3rd and the 4th.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. When something bad happens in life, we may carry it with us over the course of time. But in today's U-Day segment, Coach Lamont is reminding us it's best to let that weight go to free yourself of worry.
Have you ever felt stuck, maybe spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or even physically? Many times we have let down an anchor somewhere along the way. Now, anchors are a way of telling our soul we are not ready to confront something, and that something may be weighing us down. Whether it's hurt, betrayal, disappointment, or even a trauma, we let down our anchor and become bound at the place of that pain. And that pain is a constant reminder of where we left ourselves. That explains why when we try to move forward, we find ourselves always being tugged back to the painful memory that we've tried to escape. We must face ourselves and face the internal hindrances which have held us captive. We can no longer be our own prisoners. It's time to confront. Confrontation is never easy, but in order for you to overcome, you must face the very things that have held you bound. It's time to pull up the anchor and free yourself from the past. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best U-Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
The proverbial wet blanket, the thing that weights you down.
Yes, and it can be so hard to get rid of. It can almost become like part of you, I think, a lot of that baggage that we carry with us. But it's nice to be reminded that we do have the opportunity in many occasions to get rid of that. The whole time I'm singing the Frozen song.
Let
talking
it go.
about letting it go.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
It's true. And one of the things I think people have a problem with this, it was funny, I had a bigger problem with this when I was younger than I do now, but letting your things stay at the door.
Oh,
I remember
gosh.
I had a boss about 20 years ago who would say, leave everything at the door when you come in here, do your job, and then go home, pick it back up again.
And I mean, that's the best piece of advice you've given me.
is.
So whoever told you that is changing multiple lives. But just like when you leave the building, when you leave work, especially at the end of the week, don't take anything from work home, because then it starts to seep into your personal life. So anything you're stressed about at work, you're going to be stressed about at home. And you're right. Gotta let it go.
One of the things that I loved about this career, and I didn't think about it when I was getting into it as a younger person, but is the fact that usually, not always, but most of the time, we don't have a lot of homework. We do everything day of, we kind of hustle. Once in a while, you're doing some longer stories, but I love that part of it, that you work and then you can go home and focus on this. Yeah.
Right. And when you're on live TV, like if you mess up, you just got to keep going. There's no time to dwell in the mistake, which happen often.
I'm glad we don't have time for me to talk about most embarrassing moments. We'll be right back. Stay right there.
I miss bloopers.
Yes,
we need to bring them back.
Again.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I am Chad Silver here with one of my favorite friends,
Aw.
Maddie Gardner. How are you
You're
today?
making me blush now. I don't know what I'm supposed to say after that. That was so sweet. I'm glad you're here.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be here filling in today and tomorrow. So I always love coming back to 4 to 5. So it'll be a nice change of pace.
If it can't be Lauren, I'm glad it's you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, it has been quite a Monday for a triad woman.
It truly has. Imagine just like waking up and winning $1 million. It's exactly what happened for the first winner of our state's vaccine lottery. And get this, the woman lives in Forsyth County. Yes, a triad woman, Shelly, lives with her husband in Winston-Salem. They have 3 kids. She is also a teacher there. She said a big reason that she and her family got vaccinated because she and her husband have aging parents. And she wanted to go back to the classroom to see her kids. She encourages everyone to get a vaccine no matter the reason.
Please do. Not because you have the chance to win a prize. That's not why I got vaccinated. Like I said, I got vaccinated because I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family, extended family, and honestly, it terrified me that I might spread that to someone that I love or to a child. So I would encourage you, please do get your vaccination.
All right, so listen to this. Shelly did not believe the call when she first got it, when she found out that she won the lottery. So who did she turn to first? The person I would have called first. WFMY News 2's Tanya Rivera. Shelly and her husband sat down with Tanya this morning to talk about winning the lottery. And we're going to hear about how important the vaccine is to this family coming up at 5.
And no surprise, Shelly's getting a lot of congrats on social media. Linda wrote, "Awesome. Love that she shared her reasons for getting vaccinated. Not wanting to spread this disease to others. I wish everyone felt the same." Sabrina says, "Yay, a teacher no less. Congratulations." Lori also said congratulations. And Renee wrote, "Good for her. As a teacher, I am sure she could use the extra income." Finally, Angela said, "Congratulations to both of these ladies." Remember, a student also won a $125,000 scholarship. What a blessing for them. The 4 in our house are waiting patiently for our blessings.
All right, so let's introduce you to the other lady because we've only told you about Shelly, but there was another winner for the Cash for Scholarship. She was a young woman from Wilmington. 14-year-old Vanya said just before she got the call that she had won, she had taken up a part-time job to start saving money for college. She explained that she got the vaccine because she lost loved ones to COVID-19. Vanya won $125,000 that she can use after she graduates from high school in 4 years. Something to remember, anyone who gets a vaccine in North Carolina who lives in North Carolina is eligible to win, and that includes children 12 and older. If you got your vaccine after June 10th, you are entered to the lottery twice. Everyone is automatically entered, but there are some exceptions to the rule. You can find all of that on our website right now. That's WFMYnews2.com.
Some people have wondered where the money is coming from. Well, it's part of the North Carolina Coronavirus Relief Fund. It's made up of federal CARES Act money and other pandemic relief money. The Treasury Department wants states to use that money to encourage vaccinations.
So I just want you to think about this for a moment. $1 million. It is a lot of money, and it's all meant to try to encourage you to get a COVID-19 vaccine. That's the whole point of this lottery. But the question is it working? Let's go straight to the numbers this afternoon. The lottery was announced on June 10th, and since then, the number of adults in North Carolina who have gotten a vaccine has increased 2%. Just 2%. Last week, the state reports giving out almost 85,000 doses, but if you take a look back, our peak of vaccine distribution was nearly 689,000 doses, and that was given out the first week of April. Since then, you can see that those numbers have declined, really bottom out here. 42% of our state's total population is fully vaccinated, but health officials say 70% of people need to get the shot before we reach herd immunity. What's important to note here is that 14% of our total population isn't currently eligible for the vaccine.
All right, time to get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up, Michael Cadogan will soon return to the Triad to face charges connected to the death of a college student here. He's accused of killing 19-year-old HBU student Gianna Delgado. Today, in a Tennessee courtroom, Cadogan waived his right to extradition. He should return in the next 30 days. Court documents reveal Cadogan admitted to killing Delgado on a FaceTime call to a friend. Investigators say he was in Tennessee to dump her body. A 10-month-old baby and 21-year-old man died in a Winston-Salem apartment fire. An 18-year-old woman is in the hospital with injuries. Firefighters say there were no working smoke detectors or sprinklers in the building on White Meadow Lane. The fire started just before 1:30 yesterday morning. Investigators are still working to figure out what caused it. Search and rescue teams in Florida say they have found a 10th body in the rubble of that condo collapse. 151 people are still missing. Search teams are still looking for signs of life in the debris. It's been 4 days since it crumbled overnight. President Biden walked back his threat to veto the infrastructure bill, putting it back on track to pass. He said he wouldn't sign the bill unless the Senate passed his American Families Plan. Democrats say they can't get the votes they need to pass one without the other. Republicans want Democrats to commit to separating the bipartisan infrastructure bill from other legislation.
So the debate on the infrastructure bill will go on, but no matter what the outcome is, the problem is the price tag on the plan and what that money will cover. Our Verify team explains who will decide how the money is spent if a bill is passed.
These days, one topic in particular is getting a lot of attention here in the nation's capital.
Well, this is about infrastructure.
It's infrastructure.
Infrastructure bill.
A bipartisan infrastructure bill.
We have a deal.
And on social media, some are wondering how this type of infrastructure money would be spent if the bill is approved. So let's verify who would decide which projects get funding and which do not if infrastructure money is approved. Our sources are Randall O'Toole from the Cato Institute and Addie Tomer from the Brookings Institution. And our experts say that the best way to think about this is as a series of pots where you put all this money. There could be a pot for bridges, there could be another pot for highways, and a third pot for rail, let's say. And with a big bill like this, there's just a lot of pots.
Congress's transportation programs are like a Russian nesting doll, where you have pots, and inside those pots are even more pots. And then sometimes even within those pots, you get more pots.
And for each one of these pots, there's a complex formula deciding how much cash each state gets.
There's a lot of different formulas. Each pot has its own formula. But for example, the general formula for highways is based on population, road miles, and land area.
And that brings us to the final step. Using those formulas, the money reaches the 50 states or DC, where they can either use the money or allocate it to a county or a city within the state.
Local appointed officials, members of the bureaucracy, decide how most of the money is going to be spent.
For the most part, as long as you follow federal rules and regulations within pots of money, states have extreme amounts of control over what they want to build.
All right, watching this system to our south, now will it affect us directly? In a minor way, we may see some of these outer bands and just maybe a shower or thunderstorm in the southern parts of the Piedmont. It's not impossible for us to see something, but just not probable. And you look to the south, this is now Tropical Storm Danny. We're watching this. It'll move ashore in the South Carolina area, then downgrade to just an area of low pressure, but probably more likely rain for the coastal sections of Georgia and then all of the South Carolina coast, we'll say, as that moves by. But with a ridge of high pressure up to the north and east, it holds most of that precipitation away from us as that system goes by. And then it's probably absorbed into this stationary front back to the west. So what does all this mean for our forecast? Here we go. 69 degrees, partly cloudy tonight. It will be a little bit muggy tomorrow. 89. We're going to hover around that 89 to 90 degree mark for the first 3 days at least in the 7-day. And we'll go through that. That'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Slight chance of a shower or storm Tuesday. Fairly dry Wednesday, but then another system approaches. 40% on Thursday evening, 60% Friday. Could be a day with scattered showers and storms. Highs will drop to 85 as a result of that. Saturday, 40% and 82. And for your 4th of July, partly cloudy, 30% chance of a shower and 84.
All right, I am talking about confident body language while you're changing your body.
All right, let's just tell it like it is. Pandemic life has not been easy for many people, being cooped up inside. Many gyms were closed. Many people weren't able to or didn't exercise as well, or maybe didn't eat as healthy as they could have. As a result, several people say that they've gained weight and aren't in the best shape that they'd like to be. Actor Will Smith actually posted a photo of himself on his Instagram account with the caption, "I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life." It takes some courage to post a photo like that, whether you are famous or not. So Blanca Cobb is joining us today. We're going to have a conversation about having confidence while you're making changes, like getting back in shape. So Blanca, when you look at Will Smith's picture, what in particular shows that he's confident?
If you look at his hand, so first you notice that his shoulders are back, his chin is up, he has his right hand extended with the palm up, and his feet are hip distance apart. He's not hiding anything. He's letting it all hang out, and he's just showing people that he's okay with it. And that's really, really important. And then particularly, yes, he is a actor. For those of you out there saying, yeah, but he's an actor, he might be hamming it up for the camera. However, in order to do that and convey it as well as he did, there is some level of confidence there.
Yeah, but why is it important to have confident body language when maybe you aren't feeling so great about the physical shape that you're in?
Because you're psyching yourself out. A lot of times when you have body language where you're closed up or you're hiding yourself, you have this fatalistic attitude, like this is going to be so hard. How am I going to lose this weight? How long am I going to have to be in the gym, right? So, but when you're making positive steps in that direction, whether you have more strength or you're losing some weight, you're seeing changes in your shape or form, then you're going to have more confidence. And when you have that positive mindset, then that positive body language flows right after it.
That fake it till you make it mentality, right? I'm just going to be confident until I finally am. So Blanca, I think it's important just to be confident in our body language, whether it's when we're trying to get in shape, when we're going into a job interview. So what are some body language tips that you have for us to convey that?
Well, in addition to what I just pointed out with Will Smith, you can have your hand on your hip. You can put both hands on your hip. You can actually do a hip pop, or one hip comes out a little bit. Or you put your hands in your front pockets, you make sure your thumbs are out. And also, you don't want to hide behind anything. So whether it is a drink, whether it's a chair or a table, when you're hiding your body like that, it's showing that you're not as confident, because you're just shrinking. You're just becoming more invisible.
You want to take up more space. I love this. And
Exactly.
I love that Will Smith is being so transparent about his journey to get back in shape. I really appreciated when he did that. I actually did a 2 cents about it, Blanca. So we're on the same page
Awesome.
there. All right,
I'm gonna have
thanks
to
so
check it out.
much. Yeah, thanks so much for those tips. All right, so guys, let me see your best confident body language. What is that? Chilton, no, you look like a turtle.
Chad and I were
I like
laughing.
to do
We were
Chest
like,
up, look.
There you go.
Proud, chin up. There you go. Bounce that on your head. I think it is important. Before job interviews, I've always read that you should Superwoman pose, open up
Right
your
before
chest.
you go in?
Yeah, so I've done it before, college interviews for scholarships, or when I was interviewing for this job, I was in the bathroom before.
I would love to see that.
I got this.
What if the interviewer was
Got
in the
this.
bathroom at the same time?
Well, then
walked
they
out?
saw me doing it, and they understood. There's TED Talks about that.
I love that.
I'm just picturing you in front of the mirror doing this in the bathroom. Just
I
chin up.
am a superstar.
Yeah, whatever
you
it
do.
takes to get your
Yeah.
confidence up.
I mean, hey, props to Will Smith. I mean,
Yes.
I don't want to post a shirtless pic.
No, nope. And I looked it up. He's 52. It's that time of
52,
life
okay.
when that stuff starts happening.
But let's be real. Complete transparency. I don't feel great about the shape I'm in because of the pandemic. I just had days where I wanted to stay in bed, didn't want to get up and work out. And even now it's hard to get back into the swing of things. And even if it's not about what you physically look like, it's how you feel.
It is.
And I think that's what Blanca's talking about. That's what Will Smith is talking about, just regaining that confidence and feeling 100%.
I got to stop slumping.
Yeah.
That's the key, Chad.
Gentlemen,
Toss the break, Chad, and look confident.
chins up.
We'll be right back.
Is that confidence?
Very confident 4 to 5 today.
That was awesome. Cavalier.
No.
I'm gonna go
We'll be
home.
right
Stand back
I'm
up.
gonna go home. Okay.
Hello. I do not have confidence in pictures because I would rather shrink in the background.
You know, maybe you've heard of the new government report that is literally out of this world. The report on UFOs shares 144 known sightings of unidentified flying objects. This is worrying me back here. And as CBS News' David Martin reports, only one can be explained, and it's not this one.
My gosh! There is no longer any doubt unidentified flying objects are real. This one was seen by now retired Navy pilot Alex Dietrich in her F-18 off the coast of California.
There were 2 aircraft in our visual encounter. Each aircraft had 2 air crews. And then immediately following that, a single aircraft with 2 air crew who were able to lock onto this thing and get the clear footage.
It's been 17 years, and a new report by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence still can't explain that and more than 140 other sightings of so-called unidentified aerial phenomena, some of which appear to demonstrate advanced technology.
The way that it was maneuvering, the way it was accelerating and also hovering, it seemed to have capabilities that our systems would not have been able to display or keep up with. So certainly in that moment, there was some shock and awe.
The report says there is no evidence these objects came from outer space and no evidence they represent a technological breakthrough by a rival like China or Russia. Where they came from and where they go remain a mystery. But the Director of National Intelligence says they may pose a challenge to U.S. national security.
Anything that is unknown, that's as close to the coast as it was, I think that's a concern.
This object went into the water, also off the coast of California, in 2019. The Navy could find no wreckage, leaving it next to impossible to determine who it belonged to.
What are your thoughts? Chilton's shaking his head back there.
Because it scares me. That's
Right.
what it is. Because I'm one that the way I always explain it when someone asks me about that, I always say, well, I don't disbelieve yet. So I just kind of let it go. And even if it's something that someone created here, if you look, I watched that 60-minute report, and there's much more video if you want to go back and look at it. This thing is doing things that are physically impossible with aircraft right now. So I can't get it. I don't know what's going on.
So I always said, like, I'm not going to worry about it until I have to. But this is making me feel like I need to worry about it. And I don't like that feeling at all. Like, can we... At least I
seen too many movies, Maddie. We have
exactly,
yes.
And that's the problem. Like, we know Hollywood's version of extraterrestrial life. Hopefully, it is like ET.
Unless
or
it's
Stitch
like ET.
from Lilo and Stitch. I'm fine with those aliens.
Okay, yeah. But see, my sister had like nightmares about ET, so I know that she would be terrified. That would be the worst thing that come to this planet. I'm kind of the other way around. I honestly, I like the idea that there are things out there that we don't know about and that we can't explain. I mean, it fascinates me.
Okay, well, I will give them your phone number and address and say, listen, when you visit, just go see Chad first.
You could put out like a landing pad.
Except they're probably already watching the 4 to 5.
That's right.
Because we are, broadcast.
They're going to think that table
worldwide.
is a landing pad that you guys are standing on.
Ooh. Right here on the 2.
Except that would be a little tiny UFO.
Closer to Chad's.
All right, let's talk about our
weather?
forecast. Yes, that's something we can talk about that we know a little something about. It's not unidentified, that's for sure. We have an idea of what's going on here. Watching the radar now, a lot of the shower activity that we see coming from the south, that is a result of this tropical storm. A quick note with this, it really shouldn't affect us a great deal. In fact, if anything, it would be more of just a South Carolina rainmaker. We don't think that will amount to anything for us. So if you look at it from the 7-day forecast standpoint, we're talking about high temperatures staying around the 90-degree mark, within a degree or so, all the way through Thursday. Now, rain will probably move in Thursday evening. That's the best chance in the next 3 days. But Friday, the biggest day, with scattered showers and storms and highs at 85. Your holiday weekend, 82 and 84 for Saturday, Sunday, with normal rain chances.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, the first North Carolina vaccine lottery winner is announced, and she is from Winston-Salem. We sit down one-on-one with the $1 million winner who explains the death of a friend was one of the several reasons why she got vaccinated in the first place. That's coming up at 5.
Hi, 151 people remain unaccounted for. Mark Strassman has the latest from Surfside. 321.
Hi there. Hello. We are reporting on the great tropical storm Danny today.
Hi there. Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina.
Hi, Callie. So start on me, and then it moves to a photo of her, and then goes to Maddie, I'm assuming? Okay, thank you.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. I got one. Look at this.
It is time for my 2 cents. I am impatient, and I have the bad habit of trying to speed everything up. I can remind myself time and time again that good things take time and to trust life's timing, but I'll still try to speed things along. I get antsy when food is cooking. I either have to snack on all of the ingredients or take the food out too early and ruin it. I can't stand when I get stuck behind a slow driver. When my internet is slow, I want to pull my hair out. Waiting on a response from someone, it feels like an eternity. Travel is agonizing for me until I reach the final destination. You see where I'm going with this. When it comes to the timing of life in general, I struggle accepting it. I think there are a few reasons for this. First, as humans, we like to feel in control of the important things, our lives included. We want to feel like we have a say in the matter, and almost everything is instant nowadays, making waiting difficult. But here's what we need to remember. A watch pot never boils, and uncooked food does not taste good. We all get where we are supposed to be, no matter how fast we get there. You can't speed up the internet, you can't speed up other people, and many times the journey truly is just as good as the final destination. Trust me, I know it can seem impossible, but trust the timing of your life. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
And your immediate thought is what?
This is not real. This is a scam.